The time is just gone 8 minutes to 9 a.m. and it's the time of the week where we bring you Jummah Inspirations and we bring you Nasiha. And this morning, once again, we're joined by the Jamiatul Ulama KwaZulu-Natal, our respected, our honorable Moulana Ahmed Mohamedy. Moulana, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jummah Mubarak and welcome as always.
Jazakumullah wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to all the listeners of Salam Media and Radio Al Ansar. So the Inayat, I hope you enjoyed your travel to Cape Town recently.
Gee, alhamdulillah, very well. In fact, it was a much needed break and I've got a daughter living out in Cape Town. So alhamdulillah, I spent a lot of time with her and the grandchildren. So mashallah, it went very well.
Alhamdulillah, that's good. So the Inayat, as you may be aware that we've got, Jamiatul Ulama KwaZulu-Natal has coordinated 40 masajid and musallas throughout South Africa today, speaking on one topic, which is, addiction and solutions. You may have seen the poster as well. Initially, we had just planned to have this in KwaZulu-Natal. However, many people out of KwaZulu-Natal, imams and ulama, saw this, theme, and they decided to come onto this platform as well. The reason for this is that we have been inundated currently with social problems in the community as far as addiction is concerned. And generally, when we think of addiction, then we always equate it to drugs. But it's not always necessarily drugs that's the cause of addiction and the problem of addiction. We also had there's a Moulana in Durban who's a psychiatrist, who's a practicing psychiatrist. And he also brought it to our attention in the number of patients he is seeing with various types of addictions. So with regards to this, we felt it necessary that we highlight these problems in the community in a way where we can address these problems. I suppose people are all aware of the problems. So the idea is not to showcase the problems only, but to also offer solutions to the problems. So there are basically two types of addictions. One is the physical addictions we get, and one is the behavioral addictions that we get. And unfortunately, the Muslim community is really caught up in these various types of addictions. If we look at physical addictions, then it's alcohol, tobacco, the opiates, the drugs, the inhalants, the prescription drugs, etc., etc. If we look at some of the behavioral addictions, then that includes food addiction, addiction regarding carnal pleasure, pornography addiction, which is a very, very big addiction in our community, which is not restricted to young people. Sometimes we think that addictions are just restricted to young people, but unfortunately, we are dealing with elderly people who have a pornographic addiction, people who are grandfathers. And so we are dealing with such difficult, kind of people coming into our offices, not difficult people, but if you look at the age group, it becomes embarrassing for us also to deal with some of these issues. Then we find mobile addiction, which is very large and predominant in our community, especially with our teenagers and our females as well. Many children complain regarding their mothers who are addicted to their mobile devices. Then the gaming devices, which is common among young and old, hours and hours are whiled away on gaming devices. Then another kind of addiction is the gymming addiction, where people spend hours and hours, bodybuilding in gyms, taking steroids, etc., which are affecting their marital lives, their social lives. Their temperament is being affected by the products that they are ingesting, etc. Then there are other addictions like taking pain, shopping addiction. Some people, they cannot control themselves as far as the shopping addiction goes. Then the very famous gambling addiction, which causes havoc in families, in businesses, etc. And another form of addiction is work addiction. We know that in Japan, people actually commit suicide because of high stress levels and very, very stringent addiction to work, etc. So inshallah, if people want to see where these particular Jummahs will be taking place, then they can go onto the Jamiat website, jamiat.org.za, and the poster is displayed there. So in the various masajid, it is quite spaced out. So inshallah, you will find a masjid near you where this topic will be discussed today. And inshallah, we need to not only highlight the problems in the society, but we need to say that there are solutions out there. There is help out there. And this is an offer I'm making to our communities, that if you have any problem in your families, etc., seek help. Seek it from whoever is qualified in doing so. We at the Jamiatul Ulama, we are fortunate that we have a qualified psychologist, who basically serves the community via our offices. Then we can even refer people to the rehabilitation centers, drug rehabilitation centers that are there. There are some very good ones offering good service. Unfortunately, the reality and the truth is the success rate is not high. And this is the problem with substance abuse. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for our communities to deal with these issues. And forewarned is the best. So we rather go on an education drive. Prevention, as they say, is better than cure. Let us empower our children and our communities with knowledge regarding these addictions, these vices. So inshallah, this will make a better, a healthier, and a more productive society at large. And it will contribute towards the general Muslim Ummah with much benefit, inshallah. Jazakumullahu khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah Moulana for coming on and highlighting this particular aspect. And sometimes we don't even realize how our social fabric of our society is being destroyed by all these addictions. And, it's a very, very proactive, a positive step, inshallah. And we make dua that only goodness comes out of this initiative, inshallah, Moulana.
Jazakumullah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yes, that was Moulana Ahmed Mohamedy with this week's Jummah Inspirations. And please take note, masajids right across the KwaZulu-Natal and also outside of KwaZulu-Natal, as Moulana had mentioned, and talking about these addictions. And as Moulana had broken down all these addictions, and we don't realize what this actually results in, what the consequences are for us as families, for societies, for the community at large. And certainly, many of the masajids where these talks, where the Jummah Bayans are going to be taking place, we encourage people to go early to the masajid, and so that we can listen, we can take all goodness out of it. And more importantly, as Moulana mentioned, the solutions are there, and we can address the problem. But at the same time, it is not only about addressing the problem, it is about finding solutions for the betterment of the Ummah, for the betterment of humanity at large. And with that, we've just come straight on to 9 a.m. It's time for the live crossing over to Tabila Duma at the Al Ansar newsroom for the news. We come back, there's still a lot more right until 10 a.m. on News and Views. Stay with us. But right now, we're going to go for the news.
Breaking stereotypes, moving boundaries,